hold my calls because on the line, Jon-Christopher, Bua, White House correspondent for Real Political News. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick. How are you, my friend? It's good to hear your calm voice.
Well, it's not calm at the Fed, is it? Because Donald Trump is on the attack. What's upset him now?
I mean, he calls the guy a loser. He's one of the most respected men in finance globally. And he calls him a loser, and he wants him to quit or he'll fire him, which he can't do because they're separated. That's the whole point of the Federal Reserve. It's separate from the politics. It stays away from politics. But he's been talking about it, and the Dow has just tanked 1,000 points, and it's not looking good. Even the futures aren't looking too good at the moment.
Yeah, we're talking about Jerome Powell. He is the head of the Federal Reserve, and he was asked about whether he can be removed by Donald Trump, and his answer was not permissible in law. So we have another hero standing up to the tangerine scream.
Not only them, but everyone else who's supporting Harvard. Now,
yes.
There are people who are sending, in fact, a friend of mine, a correspondent, is sending $100,000 to Harvard to support them in their fight against Trump because they're suing the administration for the fact that they took away their funding, and they're also trying to take away their IRS tax exemptions. And you know, these universities, and you know very well, these universities like Harvard and Yale and Princeton, Stanford, they do so much research into things like Parkinson's and cancer and birth defects. And that's where a lot of our intellectual and medical innovation comes from. And if you pull that, then we're in big trouble.
It's as though Trump is making it impossible for a decent, reasonable human being to resist him by making the pain so bad for those who need, as you say, like medical interventions. He's pulling funding from hospitals, essentially, in the expectation that the people who are running those hospitals, which will be the universities, will just cave because they see the misery that it's causing.
Well, they may cave for a moment, but like Pope Francis today, he always said, Jesus got up 3 times. And I think these major universities and these, they call them elite colleges, like Harvard, they have a huge endowment. They have enormous public support. And people even are giving, $50, $100, not only 100,000, and millions to make sure that universities like this do not succumb to Donald Trump's tyranny and treachery.
And Columbia University was the first one. I mean, that's part of the Ivy League. There was the first one that Donald Trump attacked. And Columbia, they didn't have the same reaction as Harvard, did they? They sort of caved, essentially, and then found themselves subject to further demands. And then when those demands were met, then they had more demands. And I think one of the people at Columbia said they sort of rued their decision initially to accept Trump's demands because they said that there does not seem to be any acceptable outcome to complying with his demands.
Well, that's happening on the universities. It's also happening at the law firms.
Yes.
Where some of them have caved in and have said, well, Trump's whole thing, and I've known him for 60 years. His whole thing is retribution and recrimination. He's going to go after these you supported Hillary back in 2016, so you're on my list. I'm going to go after you, and I'm going to make sure that you don't get the good deal. And these law firms some of them are being pressured, and some of them are not. They're turning around and they're saying, you know what? The hell with you. We're going after you, and you're not going to be able to eliminate our practice and our standing for what we believe this country's about is integrity and free speech.
To me, it's incredible that the major law firms, and we're talking about firms that bill billions of dollars of work a year. These aren't small organizations; they're huge.
They're huge corporate law firms.
Yes, that they would, some of them would say, okay, we give in straight away, and here is $100 million worth of free legal work as a cherry on top of the cake. But others, you say, are actually resisting that.
No, they're saying enough is enough. And I know lawyers, some of them personally, who have had discussions and meetings, and they discuss, this is what we're doing. We're not caving into this guy. That's just too bad, and we're going to have to get over it. You know, we'll go through it, and we'll get through it, and hopefully the Democrats are saying, you know, we're going to reelect Congress in 2 years, and this will not be the problem anymore. And Trump is going to hold, because the whole thing, you know, you know this. We have Trump holding on for dear life in this storm, so he doesn't go to jail, so he doesn't lose his all his money, and now he's going to Rome to the Pope's funeral. Isn't that nice?
Now, the Pope died today. They can't possibly have sent out invitations to the funeral already. So, to my eyes, Donald Trump has invited himself.
Well, here's the deal. You know, it was not a coincidence that Vice President Vance went a convert to Catholicism, by the way, which is fine. I just so you know, parenthetically, I taught at Catholic University in this town, both Catholic University and Georgetown, for 13 years. And I know what's going on in the intellectual and in the educational, and I think how people need to stand by their rights as Americans and their First Amendment rights. And I think the fact is that you cannot let a tyrant take over, because he will intimidate you, he will go after you, and he says he will. And that's the problem. Except China doesn't give a good hoot what he's doing. They're killing us, and the tariffs are going absolutely haywire. And now he's meeting with the CEOs, I believe tomorrow, of Target and Walmart, I believe at the White House, to convince them not to pass on these tariff costs to their customers. I mean, he's all over the place. But as long as, yes, I think it's insane. You're laughing, but it's not funny, Nick. Please.
Yeah. Well, Walmart and Target are going to pass their costs on. They're not going to swallow Donald Trump's insane tariffs, aren't they? So what you're saying is that the effects haven't actually come through to the consumer yet. They haven't found these higher prices yet.
Give it 3 weeks. We'll see what happens. But what he's going to do, he's going to palather them. He's going to tell them, oh, you're all going to be billionaires. You know, there's no longer millionaires in this country anymore. Trillionaires to billionaires. And he'll have his little monkey there from South Africa, Musk. And he'll be jumping around the room. And they'll all try to tell these poor guys that, you know, you're going to be rich, so don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. I mean, there was an egg roll today. You know, we rolled the little eggs, and I've been to many of them as a journalist. Mm-hmm. And they had the kids rolling the eggs, and they had Trump. They were asking Trump about the Pope, etc., and about headsets. It was also there. Can you imagine? They were looking at he says, you guys, you fake news media, you turned us against us. This is with little kids. He saw, you horrible people, the press is there. They're the ones who did it. I mean, it's really to intimidate, to use recrimination, and to go after. And the press was his first target.
Well,
he's going after the CEOs. He's going after to the universities, the law firms, and the medical. And then he put Musk in there to get rid of all the regulators in the government who can regulate exactly what's going on to keep things straight. And now Musk won't have a free hand to take over.
Everything Donald Trump is doing is dictator 101. And you can tell what he's going to do next by just looking at the History Channel. He's going to go after what he is bound to call degenerate art, for a start.
Oh, God.
And then he's going
that movement.
Yeah, and then he's going to go after comedians, and then probably you, John.
Well, don't say that, because I'm questioning whether my wife and I are going to move over to the Cotswolds or to Wales or something to get out of here. But I'm American. I won't give up. I love Great Britain, but I'm not going to give up. I will stay here. I will stand and deliver. And if you could imagine, one last thing, I know you're busy. This headset gave away more information, and now he has another chat with this group. With his brother, with his wife on it,
yes,
his brother and his lawyer, and I'm saying, my God, whoever put this guy into office? He looks like some kind of a bad soap opera guy. He was a Fox Weekend host. And I was saying to my wife earlier, she's very bright, she's a brilliant lawyer, and he was with the signal chat. I said, can you imagine if Winston Churchill said, "Oh, Clemmy, would you like to come to this meeting today? And she'd be very qualified. We're going to say we're bombing the Nazis, and where we're going to go in Anzio Beach. I'm going to give all the information away." That's what they did in Yemen with the Houthis, and he did it again.
I know. And Donald Trump says he has full confidence, or he didn't quite put it like that. He says doing a great job. We're talking about the alcohol enthusiast in Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. John always. He has to. He does. He does.
To, otherwise, he proves himself wrong, and he can never be wrong.
Right, exactly. John, always a pleasure.
I got it, honey. Oh.
You got what? You didn't stop it.
Oh, Jesus.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know.